AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
You all right over there?
Yeah, when it played like that, it threw me off, and I forgot to click the other thing to shut the open off there.
Hump day.
That was weird.
It's hump day.
I look at the clock, and it's not as weird.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You know what I mean, Paulie?
Hump day.
Know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It's hump day.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock. It's time to go home almost. Yeah. A lot of people are hopping in their car.
Yeah.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Usually when we would be on point because it's 5 o'clock, it's drive time, but not Muse.
Hump day.
This is the time when things start getting a little hazy,
It's hump day.
a little fuzzy,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
not quite as focused.
Hump day.
Not the highlight of the show.
It's hump day.
See what I did there?
I picked it up, yeah.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Paul.
Hump
Man,
day.
y'all are really just smashing it today.
It's hump day.
Great. All right, let's just move. We'll move on. We'll get going. We got Ersin Demir here in about 25 minutes. It was actually a little bit of a challenge to find someone who covers international basketball. Like, understand, like, I don't know people who cover the Euro League every day or the ABL down in Australia. So Ersin Demir is a guy who has his own Substack and has a lot of extensive research on a lot of these prospects. So I DM'd him on Twitter. He's going to join us here in about 25 minutes. I'm excited. He actually just DM'd me because John Rothstein just minutes ago broke this story. A little breaking news here. That Will Wade's got another international prospect committed. Now, the good news for all the hypocrites that cover college basketball that are just bitching and moaning about Will Wade adding international prospects, he's a younger guy. He's not in his 20s. He's a teenager. Michael Ruzick is his name. 7-footer. Been on NBA draft boards for a few seasons. Rothstein notes should add size and skill up front in Baton Rouge. So Michael Ruzick commits to LSU. We'll ask Ersin Demir about him coming up here in about 25 minutes from right now. Will Wade, ever since the Vanity Fair article dropped Monday last week, and the subsequent reaction has been quiet. Now, I think it's important to know also that Lane Kiffin was out of town. There was no visitors. He was down in Florida. His boat shared a photo, I think, on his Instagram story of him and his nephew, Cookie, catching some redfish. So a little bit out of sight, out of mind. A lot of people wondered, did LSU tell him to stop tweeting? I was not told that. Actually, had a conversation with an LSU administrator today, was not told that. But whatever. And a day ago, Will Wade popped up on a lot of other people's social media because he was around town with the guys from Pardon My Take over at Barstool. And that interview, that episode dropped today, so you can check it out wherever you get podcasts or YouTube. You want to go check out Pardon My Take. And they talked a lot about the stuff that we've talked about plenty, leaving the exit at Ole Miss and the airport scene and all that stuff. I'm not quite as concerned or interested in relitigating any of that. I mean, that is something that was talked about then. People will continue to talk about it. Here, I think many people in and around and interested in LSU football have turned the page and are far more interested in this football season and less interested in how the exit at Ole Miss transpired. We all know what happened. The story's been told. It's what it is. It's far more interesting now to know, okay, you've assembled this roster. You've come through spring. What's the work like now, and how are you looking for the 2026 season? In my opinion, is there's nothing more important to answer that than Sam Leavitt. Did an interview earlier today with Garland Gillen from Fox 8 New Orleans. It'll air, I think, maybe on Friday, he told me. We'll tell you when it airs, whenever it's scheduled. And Garland asked me my prediction for the football season. I said, Garland, I'm not copping out on you, man. And a lot of people have asked me this, so I'm maybe spoiling this part of it. I'm not copping out, but a lot of people have asked me, and I'm just not prepared to give that answer because until I know what Sam Leavitt looks like in this offense, I can't answer that question. Quarterback is the most important position in organized team sports. LSU spent a bunch of money to get Sam Leavitt here. He was the number one guy in the portal, and he didn't participate in spring. And the guys I did watch in spring weren't good. Now, I think, to clarify, Husan Longstreet, Landon Clark have the potential to be really good players one day. There's a lot of ability there. But we just saw it this past season. LSU spent a ton of money on the 2025 roster. You had a fifth-year senior in Garrett Nussmeier returning. Nussmeier was limited. Then when he didn't play and Van Buren went in, your offense stunk. Didn't matter how good you were on defense. You couldn't move the football, couldn't score, and you go 7-6. It's brutal. And I think this team, if Sam Leavitt isn't healthy, could face the same fate, a similar fate, 8-4, 7-5. I think that is what this team will go if Sam Leavitt is not healthy. So, Lane Kiffin, Pardon My Take, guys, talked about Sam Leavitt.
What we see in him is some similarities. Winner, highly competitive. He took the team to the playoffs, 2 years ago. Made a lot of plays, where things broke down. He had to make plays with his feet. And he's really, really competitive and smart, really student of the game, loves watching it. He actually has been very limited because of surgery and what he could do, but the way that he's approached the game and how serious he is about being great, it's awesome to be around.
One of the comments that Kiffin made during spring in the 4-5 media, the press conferences he had during spring that stood out most was when he talked about Leavitt being one of those guys. And the way Lane said it was, in the team room, he asked guys who loves football, and they all raise their hand. And his point was, you don't love football. Most of you love what football will do for you. You love the money or the fame or whatever it may be. Sam Leavitt's a guy that loves football, a guy that would play it at the highest level for free because he loves football. He's a football junkie. He's got ability. I don't think any of that is in question. We've seen it. We've seen him do it at the major level. Is he healthy enough? How quickly can he assimilate in this offense? That's the key to this LSU season. The other thing that I thought was super interesting was Kiffin talking about the challenge of turning over this much of the roster, 40 guys from the portal, freshman class coming in as well, which actually kind of, I think, feels pretty comfortable for Lane Kiffin.
The good thing is we've had some practice. Like last year, that team we just talked about that, won 13 games, 11-1 regular season, that was actually a rebuilt team. That was not supposed to be our best team. We had lost a lot of players, and Jackson Dart, the quarterback, to the first round, and a lot of NFL players. So that was a rebuilt team with a ton of portal players again. So we have had practice in today's era of college football, especially the way we built teams year in and year out there. So we've done this. It is like almost every year you're redoing your culture. This is a little harder because we weren't here, so none of the returning players, even though they're returning to LSU, they don't know our culture.
Right.
So in that way, it's a little bit like an expansion team. You know, but you know, at the same time, other people are going through the same things.
It's funny, you know, we go to SEC media days every year, and you know, I dive into all the preseason magazines to try to familiarize myself with the teams that we're going to talk about that week. And so you go in, and we talk about this every July. So if you're familiar with the show, that this will resonate. But we go in every July, and I go into media days with certain preconceived notions, certain ideas, and I'm always interested if I come away either like validating those or maybe calling those into question. You know, can I confirm or disconfirm those ideas at media days? And one of the things that, like, I'll give you an example. One of the things last year was that Kirby had his youngest team at Georgia. More than 50% of his roster were freshmen and sophomores. It was the youngest team he's ever had at Georgia. And so it was really interesting hearing Kirby talk about that last year. And that's a team that still made the playoff. But the other thing, one of the reasons why I was not high on Ole Miss last year, they returned 2 starters. Two. And from a team, remember, that was 9-3, that was the best, the most talented team in 24 that Ole Miss ever had. They had 9 guys drafted. That was the most they'd had drafted in the modern era. So a team that had that many guys drafted went 9-3 and returned 2 starters. And they went to the playoff. They had good culture, they had buy-in, and most importantly, they hit on Chambliss. No one knew what they had at the time. Lane Kiffin didn't know. I mean, they brought Austin Simmons to media days. Nobody knew Trinidad Chambliss' name in July. And it became a phenom, which is an amazing story, right, in college football. So he's right in that the turnover shouldn't bother him. That's something he is very familiar with and comfortable with because he does it every year. The real question is Sam Levitt good to go? And if he is, awesome. I think LSU's a playoff team. And if he's not, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people around here in the fall. All right, after further review, you want to catch, again, that full interview, Lane on Pardon My Take, YouTube, podcast, and get it anywhere. Hey, we're brought to you by Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. They're open right now. They open at 5 o'clock. If you don't have a reservation, no sweat. Remember, you could always pop in, dine at the bar. 14 bar stools, 7 bar tables. First come, first serve every day at the bar. You want to get a reservation? Always encourage that. Supperclubbtr.com. Supperclubbtr.com. Man, no matter which course you're going to have, maybe you're just going to eat some apps and have a glass of wine, a cocktail, and close some business. The burnt ends are awesome. Man, the tuna poke is out of this world. If you love tuna is my favorite fish. If you love tuna, the tuna poke appetizer is incredible. Maybe you want a steak. Maybe you're finally going to try the thing I tell you about all the time, which is the veal parm. Remember, they bring the veal chop to bone in to the table, breaded, fried, without the cheese and the Parmesan on it. They bring that in a skillet, and they put the veal chop on the table, and they lay the skillet with the cheese and the marinara over the veal table side, so that way it doesn't get soggy. It's just, everything is thoughtful. It's just an incredible dining experience. The food is amazing. It's Supper Club. Just go if you haven't been. And if you've been but haven't been in a while, go back. Supperclubbtr.com. Supperclubbtr.com. All right, in 15 minutes, y'all, we'll talk to Ersin Demir. Excited about this. First time he'll be on the show. He's a guy who covers international basketball. So we're going to talk to him about all these guys that Will Wade is landing, including the newest, Michael Ruzic, out of Croatia? Is that what we said? Croatia? Out of Croatia. So Will Wade told us he was going to build an international roster. He's doing it. He's got another one here today, so we'll talk about that coming up here in about 15 minutes. Stick around with us here. It's a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Of course, past couple of years, LSU football, Friday before every home game, where do they stay? Renaissance Baton Rouge. Why? Because they can accommodate a party of any size, even an entire football program moving into the hotel for the weekend. The Grand Ballroom, it's where LSU would have all their team meetings, their team meals, big enough to host the entire football program in one room. They have enough guest rooms to have the entire football program stay there as well. And they have smaller rooms that they can partition off where they have the individual position group meetings as well. So no matter what size event you have, you need the Grand Ballroom for 500 people. You need a boardroom for 12 people. Anything in between, a wedding reception, a fundraiser, maybe you've got a convention of some sort, Renaissance Baton Rouge would love to host you. Call my friend Allison Crump today over at Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Always appreciate Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Remember, it's not just ED treatments. It's hormone replacement therapy. It's peptide therapy. It's about how you feel. You want to change the way you feel every single day. Goodwood can help. Affordable, lowest prices, never any contracts. Yourgoodwood.com. Yourgoodwood.com. All right, LSU baseball. We are about 3 hours away from scheduled first pitch in Hoover with LSU and Auburn. Thanks to Brian Matthews, who was here, covers Auburn for On 3, was here about an hour ago, kind of gave us a thumbnail preview at Auburn. They feel like they've got a national seed already locked up. Maybe they do. They're the number 3 RPI team in America. They've got 17 SEC wins. They could very well already have it sewed up. 17 isn't always a lock to be a national seed, but maybe when the metrics look that as good as they do at Auburn, that could well be enough. But a couple of wins in Hoover would certainly solidify it for the Auburn Tigers. As for LSU, we know they got to go win the SEC tournament if they want to advance. So right now, Arkansas has got an early lead on Tennessee. It's 4-0. They just homered, so it's actually a 5-0 bottom 3. Would love maybe to see a little bit of a run rule piece here. Saw that earlier in the day with Mississippi State over Missouri. Keep this thing running on time. But Arkansas getting up early here on Tennessee. LSU and Auburn will follow this game. What we know is William Schmidt was scratched last night, about 30 minutes before the start. As of this very moment, no announcement from Jay Johnson on a starting pitcher for tonight's ball game against Auburn. We do know that Jake Marciano, Auburn's ace, is going to throw. And Butch Thompson, the Auburn coach, did talk a little more about Auburn's pitching plan.
Marciano, and if we're in the game, we dump Sanders. We do just like we did game 1. These guys have thrown a pretty good bit. We've been healthy this year, and we would love that to continue. But I think Marciano will be shorted one day, and Sanders has been built for it. So I think they're close enough to full speed to run them out there. The winner of our game would get Thursday off, and then that would put you in Friday, Saturday, Sunday, single games. So I think we would fall right in line with normal rest there. So you could see Alvarez would go Friday for us, Petrovic would go Saturday, and I'd love to have to figure out something on Sunday.
Butch Thompson sounds like he's got his plan all ready to go. This is a great coach, man. Obviously, a pitching background, and it shows at Auburn. I mean, they're the best staff. They have the best staff ERA in the Southeastern Conference. Their offense strikes out the least of any team in the SEC. They're 5th in team batting average. So there's going to be a real challenge. LSU and Auburn, as you know, didn't play this year, but to speak as to how loaded the SEC is, Auburn was 6th in the conference, despite what we just said. So big challenge for LSU and Jay Johnson. And on Tuesday night after the Oklahoma win, late into the night, Jay Johnson was on the SEC Network post-game set and talked about the message to his team after the Oklahoma game.
We've had all the opportunities. We haven't been able to capitalize on them, but we have one shot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're at the fair, and you only got $1 left to throw and knock over the milk cartons, to take home the stuffed animal. You got $1 at the blackjack table, to try to build yourself back up. But we won this hand tonight. Okay, so we got another hand tomorrow.
It's an interesting way to put it. You really got $1 to knock over the milk cartons, or the milk bottles, and those heavy milk bottles. Sometimes you got to do more than just knock over. Well, you got to do like 3 times. You know what I mean? You ever been to a fair? Like, usually it's not just knock them over once. You got to knock them all over, like several times, to get the big stuffed animal.
Yeah, normally you're standing there at like the booth, and there's 3 different tables of the milk jugs set up.
Got to do them all.
You knock them all down, and you win your prize.
And sometimes those carnies, they like glue the milk jug to the ground, so you can't knock it over.
They're not trying to lose money here.
We were over at the St. Jude Fair a few weeks ago, and it was one of those dart games that got balloons everywhere, right? And inside the balloon is like, or behind the balloon is like a number, and you have to get a certain number to get the different prizes, right? If you're like 7 to 10, then you get the big stuffed animal over. So you don't know where it is. You got to just keep hitting dart. I think they didn't have any 7 to 10s on there at all on the board. I mean, I was powing all over the place. You know, my niece wanted a blue stuffed something or other. I'm like, Kat, I didn't spend like $30. I've hit 300 balloons. I mean, I don't think you have one on this board. Like, show me where it is on this board. You know,
they'll get you, man. They're sneaky.
Those carnies.
Yeah, they just want your $30.
Circus folk.
Circus.
Nomads, you know. Small hands. Smell like cabbage. Jay Johnson gave his thoughts on Auburn as well.
They were my preseason pick to win the national championship. A lot of same position players that we played last year. I know they're very well thought of throughout the country. They have the most quad 1 wins of anybody. I think early thoughts are just kind of, we haven't even cross-scouted them a lot. They haven't played somebody like right before we've played them. But I think the thought was dominant offense. We'll see on the pitching, but I think they've really pitched well. No surprise, you know, with Butch and Marciano had a great year this year. So looking forward to it. You know, they're the team that, until this year, I mean, has been the hardest for us to play against, and respect them a lot. Looking forward to the game.
8:30 is a scheduled first pitch for LSU and Auburn. We're brought about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com. That's Arco Power Systems. If you're a business owner, power goes out, what happens to your business? How do you get back online? You just wait. You wait for the power company to flip the switch, get you back online. What if power's out for hours? What if power's out for days? What if power's out for weeks? You don't have to worry about it if you've got Arco. Have a plan. You have a plan for everything in your business as a business owner. Your business is a living, breathing thing that you care for every single day. What about if the power goes out? That's where Arco comes in. This is energy for your business. These are industrial Generac generators to power your business when the power goes out. Arco.com, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, and everything is turnkey. Awesome local people, and everything is turnkey. They can sell, service, install, rent that Generac industrial standby generator for your business of any size. Arco Power Systems. Baton Rouge, but all over Louisiana, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio, north to Little Rock. Arco.com. ARCCO. Arco.com. Arco.com. Okay, y'all. It's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We're going to knock out a quick break. Listen, just very candidly, I think you could probably empathize, man. I don't know anything about these prospects that LSU is getting, these international players. Ersin Demir does. And found him on Twitter, and he does a ton of scouting of all these international prospects. So he's going to join us next and tell us about the basketball players, not Will Wade and all the controversy and the whatever, the age. Just who are these basketball players that LSU is landing? We're going to talk about that with Ersin Demir next on AFR.
After Further Review.
Get on by and see our friends over at Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where they are. Seagan Airline, that's the preferred location for the Scone family. Mid-City on Donmore, LA16 in Denham. Mid-City on Donmore and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local, shop local, bypass the box store. Y'all, Clegg's has been around. You started in you're selling flowers out of a truck bed 60 years ago. And now they've grown into this massive garden center, largest garden center in our state, with 4 locations around the greater Baton Rouge area. Man, they love supporting our local economy. So support a great local business. If you need flowers or plants or trees or shrubs or mulch or soil, bag, bulk, go to Clegg's. Great local business that's convenient all over greater Baton Rouge. And they're awesome people. You're not sure what to get, just ask one of them. They can help you out. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. Jimmy will be here in about 15 minutes for Otter Locks. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Tigers and Will Wade picked up another commit here this afternoon, and Will Wade said he was going to go heavy international. He has. Thankfully, Ersin Demir, who covers the NBA and the draft internationally, has done a ton of reporting and scouting reports on all these guys. Good enough to hang out with us here and kind of fill in the blanks on some of these guys that we just don't know a lot about. Hey, Ersin, we appreciate the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with Michael Ruzic, who we just found out from John Rothstein committed a bit ago. 7-footer, Croatian. What can you tell us about him?
Well, actually, the first thing is it's a combination of not expecting too much, while these are very solid guys. And talking about Ruzic, he was an NBA draft post a couple of years ago. I wrote about him then. 6'11", super skilled guy. He's more of a 4 and a floor spacer, more of that skill 4, where the other guys that, in the front court are more, finesse power players. He's adding a lot of role versatility to this team, and I like Ruzic a lot. Ruzic is a solid player for Juventud in Spain, and that's a team that is valuing youth and developing young players. That's one of the biggest brands in Spain regarding developing players. And Ruzic has been in their system for a couple of years, and he's a solid pickup. I like him a lot. I think this is one of the best pickups of the 4 or 5 international guys that they signed.
Okay, so let's look at – I'll give you sort of a little dealer's choice here. When you look at the international guys that Will Wade has committed, let's talk about Jan Madar, Bryce Desert, Marcio Santos, now Ruzic. Of the other guys, who do you think is the most interesting or the best prospects of the ones we just mentioned there? I guess we could throw in Salu Niang as well. Who's the best of those prospects?
For me, it's Salu Niang, without any doubt. Because the difference between the European game and the college game is a lot more athleticism and physicality in college versus more tactics, fundamentals in Europe. And Salu Niang is physically more than ready to play in the SEC, more than ready. He will instantly be one of the best defenders in the SEC. And this is the kind of the connecting piece for this team. Because if you put a lot of offensive talent on the team and they need to adjust to America, it's not going to work. But Salu Niang is going to be, being the glue piece to hold this team together, in my opinion.
That's an interesting point there, Ersin, when you talk about all these international pieces coming together and what Will Wade is building. So if I were to ask you, just looking at the collection of talent, right, the guys we just mentioned, in addition, we'll see if RJ Lewis is eligible, but Mo Diabate, Austin Nunez, Abdi Bashir, Divine Ugachukwu. You look at all these guys, how would you describe that collection of talent? What is Will Wade trying to build with those guys?
A lot of real heavy, front court heavy team. And this is a team that needs a lot of good guard play to make it happen. Because Bryce Desert, he's a very mobile 7-footer, great finisher around the rim, great screener, but he's a guard play, reliant player. And Michael Ruzic, as a floor spacer, he's not going to create his own plays, inconsistently. That's something that I expect. He's another guy that will benefit from a lot of, someone as a floor general who can lead that team. And it's going to be similar for Salu Niang. I think his offensive role will be a little bit less compared to the other guys who will be more of a defensive juggernaut. While they picked up, really solid shooters like Abdi Bashir. He's fantastic as a shooter. He's proven himself in college already. I think that's a name that's going to pop. But the guy from Michigan State, Divine Ugachukwu, I think it is his last name. I think he's more of a backup, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And regarding Jan Madar, will he be eligible? Of course, for you guys, I hope he will, because of the military waiver. And the way it's been explained is that he will get 1 year, and 1 year is enough, right? So, and honestly, the NCAA have been given crazier waivers until today, and it's a business. And LSU is not doing anything illegal at all. It's just because of the boundaries of the NCAA becoming different every year. Why should you not go swing for the fences and sign all these solid players? I don't see anything being wrong with it actually either, because it's a pro league. I think Division One basketball nowadays is a pro league. You either adjust or you stay irrelevant, and this program deserves to be relevant again.
Ersin Demir is our guest, talking about the international basketball players that Will Wade is bringing in. When you look at I don't know how much you know about the NCAA rules for international players. We've had a lot of conversation here about R.J. Lewis because he signed a two-way contract with the NBA, and he should, according to the black and white letter of the law, be ineligible. What about the other guys? Are any of those other guys eligibility risks?
For me, if I look at the James Nash case at Baylor, he was drafted. He never played in America. He played some summer league, but he wasn't officially on an NBA roster. Why shouldn't this guy be eligible? That's something that I don't understand. Because, he's drafted, but again, he's not really on the roster. With RJ Lewis, it's different stories. It was on a two-way deal. He kind of he forgot his eligibility and went to the NBA. So I think that's a different conversation. I think he's the only name who doesn't get a waiver, if that makes sense. But for me, it's more so flipping it around. If guys, for example, go with a military waiver, 2-3 years, or the Diego Pavia case, he got an extra year. That was a very specific one. But again, all these examples and exemptions are being made. Why wouldn't this guy get here? I don't really understand.
You're talking about Jan Madar in that situation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he has a feasible case, if that makes sense, because these guys have no option then to go into the military. And if you look at all the rules combined, he should get 1 year, but it's 1 year only. But is he the best side addition to this team? That's something that I agree with, not agree with. But again, looking purely at the rules.
So you think Salu Niang is the best international player that they've added so far?
By far. He's gonna all defensive team SEC, no doubt.
Okay.
This guy's gonna pop.
Is he you kind of alluded to the fact that Will's building a heavy front court team, offensive focused. Aside from Niang, is there any defense on this team?
For me, it is. If I have a look at Bryce Desser, the mobility really stands out with him. I think he's going to really pop as a rim protector. And with Salu Niang's role versatility as a physical, power wing, who can impact on the perimeter, while being basically as an addition to the front court as well. And Marcio Santos, the guy from Maccabi Tel Aviv, he's a solid defender as well. If I look at this, the front court is not a problem. For me, it's more so who's going to create the plays for this team. And Madar doesn't really move the needle for me, although he's a lot older. But again, you can find similar players like that. He has had, when he was younger, he was more of the promising up-and-coming guards in Israel. But has he had a rich enough career that you can say, okay, this guy's going to lead my team to success? I don't agree with that. I don't think he's that type of player. Guard play will matter for this team, and the backup that they signed is a good one as a backup, but they really missed that guy at guard, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. You probably just answered my next question. I was going to say, as you look at the roster as it's assembled right now, assuming everyone has their eligibility, what more does Will Wade need to add?
I think the guard is the only thing. Even if RJ Lewis doesn't get the eligibility, you have enough options, left with the guys returning from the draft. I think Momcilovic, let's say you add him as well. Yeah, but how much do you really want to go for these high-end guys, if that makes sense, because he has to compile a roster anyway. But with Will Wade, what I liked is last year, if you remember at NC State, he signed Paul Mbia from France, and then he eventually committed to Kansas. That was something that was like, I wish he went to NC State. It was a better fit for him. He was also more of that physical 5-man. And with Coach Wade, I think he's going to play from inside out, if that makes sense. That's why he has mobility in the front court, defensive role versatility, and guys like Rusic, those are more, just to have more options. I think he's more of a spacer, but the really skilled guys are from the interior. And to make it the collection, they need the best card possible. And if it's okay, I want to plug one name.
Please, yeah.
And I don't know if this guy is going to go to college, but because he's in the draft cycle right now. Sergio De La Ria, Spanish guard from Valencia.
Man, you need to
Let's
spell.
say he's being picked
you need to spell that for us.
It's Sergio, and then De La Ria, Delarrrea.
Okay.
And he's playing for Valencia in Spain. And they're in the Final Four right now in the EuroLeague. EuroLeague is the top tier international league in Europe. And this guy's been on draft boards, for a couple of years. He came back to Valencia last year. Now he goes to the draft. But let's say this guy's picked in the second round. And the team that's picking him is like, okay, we just like James Nagy. He's not going to play for us this year. Yeah, he goes to college and signs for one team. He gets eligibility. That's the type of needle mover that you look for. More of that pass first, floor leading guards. And in today's portal, there's not a lot of guys left, man. So, and Coach Bay shows that he's being creative. And honestly, not because I'm here talking with you, but I don't really agree with all the sentiments of, we are ruining high school recruitment, etc., because Division 2 is still there. Division 3 is still there. Division 1 is a pro league. And you have to be older nowadays to really stick. And you have a group of guys, let's say 30, 40 names of top prospects. Those guys will always come out of high school. But Division 1 is not being taken for granted anymore, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And guys like Coach Wade, they just look for what's possible, and they try to get the best possible guys, because everyone does. And if you don't do this, you're going to be left behind.
You can follow him on Twitter at @EDemir NBA, EDEMIR NBA. You want to give him a follow there. Got the link to his Substack as well. You want to subscribe and go get the draft analysis there. Great info on these LSU guys. One more thing. There's been a lot of dollar amounts thrown around, 5 million, 7 million, whatever it is. I don't know the financial implications of the EuroLeague or a lot of these international leagues. I also don't know, Ersin, if those numbers are valid. It seems like a giant salary pool that Will Wade would be working with at LSU. Do you have an opinion on the cash flow there with this roster?
Nah, not at all. Because, compared to the United States, in Europe, it's kind of, behind closed doors, if that makes sense. Because it's all about exposure. I think with college, everything is going to change. And to make a long story short, it's all about, these clubs are getting transfer fees, buyout fees for these contracts. So these clubs are okay with these guys going to college. They will collect the fee, and then they will make money with this guy going to college, and they will come back to Europe anyway, most of them. But the other side of the coin is that, a lot of young talent is leaving Europe right now. So that's a problem that European basketball is dealing with. But regarding the numbers, let's say, I'm just using arbitrary numbers here. I'm not, because these numbers are not public. And I think they are too high, which should be reported. But let's say Jan Madar gets $1 million. And he gets $2 million playing college. Yeah, that's a big premium that you're paying. And I think that's the only way, because these guys, they don't pay a lot of taxes, if that makes sense. If they sign gross salary of 1.5 million, they get maybe 20% taxes. The rest goes to their pockets. And in the United States, why should this guy come over, leave his family there, etc., etc.? So these schools are paying a premium, and they're paying these buyout fees. And what I think is it's a combination of the buyout fee that's being paid to this program, to this club, and the salary that this guy is getting in NIL. And to name one example, Mika Murinen from Arkansas. It's been reported that Arkansas is going to pay $400,000 for his buyout fee to his club, Partizan. And let's say this guy gets $2 million. He gets the $2 million, pays the buyout fee, $1.6 million being left in his pocket. So I think it's a combination of both.
Makes sense.
But the premium is being paid, that's for sure.
Ersin Demir, ERSINDEMIR, if you want to go follow him on Twitter, at EDemir NBA, at EDEMIR NBA. Give him a follow. Great insight, great stuff. Man, I can't thank you enough for some time and lending some insight today, man. I learned a lot about a roster full of guys I knew nothing about before they started committing.
Hey, you're more than welcome.
We appreciate the time. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Have a great night.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Same to you. It's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Let me knock out our final break of the show. When we come back, got to remind you about Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Jimmy's going to be here for Otter Locks in just a quick second. Remember, kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. They'll come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's easy, it's effective, it's cost-effective. It's Parish Restoration. Go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Jim Woodworth and the gang, they do awesome work. Easy to deal with, veteran-owned business. Jim's a career Air Force guy. It does awesome work. You'll love to deal with them over at Parish Restoration. Go to the website, fill out the form on the homepage, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Okay, thanks to Ersin Demir. Good, God, that was good content. I feel a lot better about all of this. Actually talk basketball with these guys coming in, not the yelling about the international guys. Really interesting perspective there. All right, quick break. Come back. We'll wrap up the show next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by our friends at Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health Partner of LSU Athletics, OLOLRMC.com/LSU, OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU together, we roar. You know, when it comes to Our Lady of the Lake, one of the things we talk about so often, access and convenience. Access and convenience. When it comes to healthcare, we all want access and convenience. And whether it's the Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center, the Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, any of the satellite campuses, any of the other campuses as part of the FMOL health system, if it's the Lake Urgent Care, you have access and convenience at your fingertips. Look, I'm a part of the Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group with Dr. Curtis Chastain. Last Monday, not having a weird little heart palpitation, called the office. They got me scheduled. I was in within an hour. Got to see Dr. Boudreau. Felt awesome leaving. It's Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. If you're looking for work, you need to call Big Jake over at River Parish Contractors. If you're not looking for work, maybe you should be. Because at River Parish Contractors, remember, there's so many reasons to go work for our friends at River Parish Contractors. Number one, overtime. A lot of businesses want you to work. They don't want you to work overtime. At River Parish Contractors, they got so much work. You can work as much overtime as you want. You want to work night shift when it's cooler? Awesome. You want to work day shift? You can do that too. Awesome benefits, 401k, health insurance, PTO, and you are home with your family for dinner every night. The shop is there in reserve. All their work is between Baton Rouge and Chalmette. River Parish Contractors. Interested? Call Big Jake. rpcontractors.com. Check them out online, rpcontractors.com.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, what up?
What's happening, Matthew?
4-0 night for the Ott Father. When you're hot, you're hot.
Knicks, never a doubt.
Rocking chair. Just waiting on that 22-point comeback with 7 minutes to play.
I'll
take it.
Yeah, that's And look, we got lucky in the late one, too,
Yeah.
because we were down in the ninth inning. But, it was going to be a tough luck loser because in the seventh and eighth, bases loaded, one out, both times hit into inning-ending double plays. But then we get over the hump in the ninth with the walk-off two-run homer. So
I'm here for
very, very 3-run homer, rather. For
Let's
Arizona.
roll.
They
We're a
finished
little
up
short on time because I had a guest from Amsterdam talking about international basketball players. So fire away with tonight.
All right, we're going with Wemby and the Spurs. De'Aaron Fox is a game-time decision again tonight, plus 7.5. It opened up 6.5. They're betting Oklahoma City, the bounce back, but I'll take Wemby over the bounce back, which is usually profitable. Give me the Spurs plus 7.5. Going with the over again. They went over again last night. Washington and the Mets, highest scoring team in baseball, the second worst pitching staff in baseball. Give us the Nationals and the Mets over 9.5. Atlanta, no score, minus 1.5 on the road at Miami.
1 minute
minus
remaining.
1.5, minus 108. It might be even money. And in late night at the Big A in Anaheim, I'm going to take the visiting A's minus the 125. Oakland on the money line.
You can get the A's right now. I'm sorry, you can get Atlanta right now at plus $1.59 on the run line. Money line is $1.06. So, and the total on the Mets Nationals right now is 8.5 in game. So even better numbers
Okay,
right
good.
now if you want to go play.
Good.
All right, where are you tomorrow?
We're at the original Walk-Ons on Burbank, watching some conference tournament action all day long.
Awesome. Thank you, Otter.
All right, good luck.
Remember, you can get Otter Locks over at LouisianaSports.net, always for free, LouisianaSports.net. Great stuff on the show today. Appreciate y'all so much for hanging out with us. You missed anything, catch it on demand, podcast, or YouTube. Just search After Further Review. You'll see it there. Muse Pauly, thanks. Have a great night.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. You want an unbelievable customer service experience, you want Darren James. It's part of his core values for Darren and his team. Darren tells me all the time, as long as I've known Darren, he said, my goal one day is to put myself out of business. I want to create such a turnkey, seamless, easy process for people to be able to buy and sell homes that they don't even need me anymore. Well, as Darren continues on that path in the meantime, he's going to help you sell your home. So if you need to sell your home, you want a realtor that quite literally sells more homes than anyone, you want Darren James. Last year, Wall Street Journal is listed the top 1% of realtors in America, Darren James. So need to sell your home fast for the most amount of money, you need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.